Welcome to the 2010 United States Disc Golf Championship. This is the premier event on the planet. Now this is the pre-round. This is the gotta go game plan, and the game plan we got for you today is the #1 TD in the world, Mr. Jonathan Poole. We sat him down, we asked him the tough questions. Here's Jonathan. Hello, this is the Nature Boy, Billy Crump. I am lucky enough to kidnap Jonathan Poole, the TD of the United States Disc Golf Championship here. This is the President's Cup day, and there's a lot going on. We don't have much time, but we have stolen. Jonathan, how are you today?
Great, man.
The first question that I've got, Jonathan, that everybody wants to know is, why are we not playing next year, man?
Well, the good news is we actually are playing next year. It's just going to be a little bit of a variation of this event. I think when you come out next year, it's going to look and feel a lot like it does now. We hope to provide the same professional experience and atmosphere. Just a really quality disc golf experience is the goal. The event will still be called the United States Disc Golf Championship. It's just going to be a grassroots edition, and it's not going to be as inclusive. You know, this is a very difficult tournament to get into. Next year is going to be open to anybody who wants to come and experience Winthrop, and so it should be, right now the plan is for it to be a handicap-based event, so it should be fair competition for everybody. And there's a lot of reasonings for this. We don't have to go into all of them. I know we'll get to that at some point, but we've done about all we can do with this event right now, and unfortunately a lot of people are focusing on, they're looking at it as if the championship's not going to be run, like it's not ever going to be run again.
We're talking biannual right now.
Yeah, it's just, we're still going to run it. We just want to do something that helps that focuses on everybody else. You know, the biggest percentage of the market out there are recreational, amateur players, new players to the game. And for this event to go farther, we need to grow that part of the market. And this is a way to shake things up and make some news and invite people into an awesome experience, and hopefully make the 2012 pro version, if you will, of the USDGC even better.
Well, now with that being said, if I'm a player, if I'm an AM, how do I qualify? I mean, right now we can take maybe 175 players through this. Sounds like there's going to be thousands of players that want to participate. How are you going to handle that, and how do you actually get to come to the grounds and play next year?
I have no idea. If I can be perfectly honest, this is the decision, the championship decision goes back to March. A lot of people don't know that, but this is something that we, at Innova, we just labored over. I mean, obviously we recognize what this championship means to the disc golf community. It means a lot to this company. It means a lot to us that it means so much to everyone. And so this was not an easy decision, but in the long haul, we do believe that this is an important step towards getting disc golf where we think it ought to be. And it's a fabulous experience, and we intend on creating this again next year. How we get people in, just not sure yet. I don't believe we're going to do qualifying. It's probably going to be an open registration process that you would typically find at a
first come first serve at this point.
Could be. That's where we're leaning right now. It's just a matter of how do you do that so that it's fair. I mean, obviously I think there's going to be quite a demand to get into the event here. It should be a fairly low entry fee. The focus is going to be on fun. We're going to have music playing and grills going, and it's going to be a much more laid-back atmosphere and not the intense money-based competition. That has its place. We're certainly not wanting to go away from that completely. But we've been so wrapped up in this that this is about all we can do. And so it's not that we don't want to do this, it's just that we want to do this and we want to do other things. And this has grown. I mean, look around. This has grown into a tremendous strain and a resource hog on us. And we want to do this in Japan, and we want to do this in Europe, and we want to do this in Australia, and we want to do this wherever folks are willing to have it done. We want to help make that happen, and we want to focus on the amateur community as well. And we just can't do everything. And so, while this is a really tough decision and one that's gotten a lot of attention and an outpouring of emotion, we get that. it's just give us a little bit of time. I mean, Innova's been the leaders for 30 years, and we're going to continue to be the leaders, and this is what it looks and feels like.
Well, these are tough decisions. And now I'll ask you a more personal question, because this, I was with you in the beginning, and I know this is your baby. I mean, how do you feel about the championship, taking that side step? I mean, are you going to miss it next year, or are you just going to be totally engulfed with what's going on and take that onto your plate as well? Because this is a year-long process for you to prepare and put this together.
I can't imagine not being a part of it. I love disc golf, and I think more importantly than that, I love championship disc golf. I love what this feels like. And you know, this is Christmas for me, and with each passing day as the stories unfold, it just gets sweeter and sweeter for me. And I think I will want to be here regardless of the community of people that's here. You know, personally, my focus for years has been on professional disc golf, and you know, I'm proud of what we've all been able to accomplish here. And I have a lot greater peace about this decision now than I did back in March when we, you know, I sat with Harold Duvall and Dave Dunapace, and we were in about a 5-hour video conference call, and we were back and forth, and I finally just said, how do you make this decision?
Well, it almost feels like they're ripping a piece of you out, I would imagine, at that moment.
I guess I kind of knew that it was coming. I mean, I had been part of a lot of the discussions that had gotten us to that point, you know, but here I am sitting with two guys who they're pioneers in disc golf, and, you know, they've made many big decisions over the years, and so I'm sitting there and I'm very active in the conversation, but I remember very clearly at some point I just said, okay, how do you make the decision? We've talked about it, how do you get it done? And Harold said, the decision's been made. That's how we do it. It's done. Now we focus on where we're going from here. And I thought, okay, there it is. And you know, for me at that moment, even though I kind of knew where we were going, it was very difficult. It was very difficult, and you know, there's just when you put so much of yourself into something, and I have the connections with the players who I love dearly, and their feelings mean so much to me, and our partners, our network of partners who fund this event largely every year, and all of our volunteers and our employees and the people from the Rock Hill community. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I was overwhelmed with how to deal with all of those conversations that I knew were going to be coming as soon as this news broke. And you know, we waited to make the announcement until we felt like we were ready, and that was several months later. You know, obviously it was the summertime. We sent out the news release while I was on vacation, actually, and but I tell you, when I got back from vacation, it was on. It was on. The questions came fast and furious, and people are very understanding. You know, once they hear it, it's all the folks who don't have an opportunity to sit and talk with somebody who kind of knows the scoop and really where we're going with this. But I think once you have that, you feel better, and it helped me. You know, it was therapeutic to talk to Kenny and Avery and Feldberg and talk to some of our partners, and just by having the conversation, I got more comfortable with where we were going and really what this meant. But it was a process for me. It definitely took some time.
Well, you've worked through it. How much, you know, what's the reception been from the players? Are you still getting an abundance of hugs and love as you always do?
I think so. You know, right now their focus is on stroke and distance. You know, I mean, and I'm thrilled. You know, I mean, this is the guy who wanted 18's green covered with pine straw so that it would be, you know, super fast. You know, people think Harold, and Harold is, people think Harold is kind of the real devious one here who likes to just put these insane challenges on people. And he does, but he also wants to be fair. I've always wanted this to be the supreme test. I mean, if to come and win here, you better bring it, or you're not going to have a shot. And I think that's why we haven't seen that many winners. We've seen a lot of repeat winners, and you know, and so I love the stroke and distance because it needs to be, as Harold said, the pucker factor is back. And that's the way it should be. If you're not striping everything down the middle with confidence, and you're not putting in everything within 35 or almost everything, you're not going to stand a chance. And I don't know how many people actually have a shot to win here this week, but I doubt it's more than 10 because it's just, I don't think that a lot of people are prepared to compete on a course like this with all of the cameras and all of the media and all of the fanfare and all of the vendors, it's just going to be too much for a lot of people to process now. But the more we put them in that environment, they're going to get better and stronger, and the professional playing community is going to get stronger, and that's the point. And you know, and this will all hopefully be back in 2012, and we'll be bigger and better and stronger than ever.
Well, one last question, JP. We dropped in a couple of trees on hole number 1 last night, and a lot of the players scrambling up there. I went and looked at the hole. It actually helps the hole. It forces you to throw the proper line. There's a story behind those trees. What is that story?
Well, you know, we knew we needed to do something, because that's it's obviously the opening shot. You're wrestling with your nerves.
And we lost the picture frame limb that broke off.
That's and you know, that poor limb hung in there for years for us, but its day had to come, and this year its day arrived, and so that limb went down, and it made that hole far too easy for the overall test here. And so we knew we needed to do something. Now, you know, we settled on 2 trees, and you know, after we had planned to get them in, we learned about Bill Jacobson, who is you know, he's a dear member of the disc golf family.
He's an intricate part of this team that makes this event run.
Bill makes the championship better. There's no doubt about it. And when we heard the news that he had recently lost his grandchildren in an accident, we were crushed. Can't say it now without you know, without choking up, you know. But it was a Friday morning, and I got the call, and I was having a great morning, and I mean, that news hit like a ton of bricks.
Well, that's a family member.
You know, I was able to get him on the phone right before he got on the airport to fly out of town, and all I could say was, Bill, I love you. And it doesn't matter how dark it may seem, the sun's going to shine again. And we love you, and we're here for you, and we can't wait for you to get home. Well, and it was, you know, it was tough. You know, it was real tough, and I cried. I cried for an hour, just by myself up in Pennsylvania. And it's part of what this is all about, that we have that kind of love around us, and that's what drives me, that's what drives this company, that's what makes this what it is in a lot of ways. And so those 2 trees were planted to change that hole and get it back to where it meant to be, but they're also dedicated in the memory of his 2 grandchildren, and that is the least that we could do for a great man and a great volunteer, and somebody who we would not want to do this without. And so we're gonna, every time we tee it up on hole 1 and we go by those trees, we're gonna think about you know, 2 beautiful children who were spared a lot of the garbage that the world can throw at you, and they're in a better place. And it's unfortunate that they never got to experience the love that's out here every time we get together. But again, that we felt like that was the least that we could do to honor them and to honor Bill.
Well, you can see Jonathan Poole puts all his emotion and his heart in this event, and that's why it is what it is. This is the TD and the creator of the United States Disc Golf Championship. Thanks for your time, Jay.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Well, you can see Jonathan Poole. He puts all of his heart and emotion in this event. That's why it is what it is. He answered the tough questions. He told you what you're going to see next year. You should be excited too. Well, this has been the Gotta Go Game Plan. This is the first day at the USDGC. You be sure to stay tuned right here at the PDGA.com, as we'll be having great interviews with incredible players all week long.